the tailgate. We were chatting in the tailgate party before. Oh, and just one thing to invite everybody right now is that at 4:30 at the end of the last session is the after game in the lobby. So, and people just come and they kind of work on stuff and talk to each other, and it's just conversational. And it's one of the things that John and I were, and a bunch of other people were in a Zoom group through the 2020s. And the after party turned into be quite the thing, and just really just connections and conversations like this. So consider the after party today. We're going to go back into open space just for a short time. We want to see what the sessions are today. But I want to start with Ed. Ed kind of gave me a reminder that today that just to ask people what they need. And thank you, Ed. I wonder at this point, as a result of yesterday and coming to this conference and stuff like that, the question is really simple. What is it you came to this conference needing? What drew you to this conference? Is there a need that brought you here? I need to hear about this. I need to learn about this. I'm looking for structure for this. And or as a result of yesterday, did a need occur for you? And we're really small enough right now that it'd be neat to just do a little bit of a sounding. If you have something, it'd be cool. John put the mural up there for you to take a look at, but just in real time, for those of us here, what do you need? What do you need at this point? We've got 30 minutes before the first session. What do you need today?
Just a reminder, raise your hand. There you go, Jill. You got it down.
Let's hear it, Jill.
I need to brainstorm with folks about adapting, maybe some traditional icebreaker games to add some DEAI, diversity, equity, accessibility, inclusion debriefs or prompts to it. So I threw a discussion up at the 9:30 time slot for anyone to just chat and brainstorm. And I know that I've been spending a lot of time thinking about, we've been doing it our whole lives, right? We take activities and we evolve them and we move them and we re-debrief them and we make them help us focus on something else. And so this is the next wave that I'm really looking for. So anyone that wants to jump in on that conversation, please do so. When I say leading it, I mean, I put the square on the board. So that's the extent of me leading it.
Well, and Jill, you're not without skills for facilitating. So you certainly can receive and stuff. Can you define diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Accessibility and inclusion. Yep.
Yeah. And Daryl also adds, Daryl, you say Jedi, I believe.
Yeah, I call it the journey of equity, diversity, inclusion. Now I got to figure out. Thanks, Jill. Now I got to figure out how to change the name. You're right.
Well, when I started here at the museum, I was like, why didn't we call it IDEA? Why did we call it DEAI? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, all righty, well, moving on.
Well, because it was DEA, and then, it's everybody trying to put their mark on the initials.
Yeah.
Good. So you put that up there. Who else? Something that you need at this point. You look at the board. It could be look at the board and say, what I need isn't on the board, but close your eyes and just envision, what do you need at this point? How can this group of people help your journey? Mariah.
So I'm doing a little project on relational leadership. And at some point, I'm going to send you an email as your friend asking you to fill out a survey for me, because that's the data that we're doing. But I think we, as in our industry, have always understood relational leadership before we called it that. But I would like, what I see it in the current status is that I work with a lot of community leaders, whether they're nonprofit, city government, county, and they're a little burnout, they're toasty fried. People are really cruel right now. And so I didn't know if we could have a conversation on dignity, integrity, how to refuel people when they've been just flawed. I don't even know if that's a thing, but you know, we don't want to therapize them, but we want to make sure we point them in the right direction to remind them that what's happening out there isn't necessarily a reflection of who they are.
Does that just a show of hands, does that resonate with anyone? There's some hands there. And then with Jill's suggestion about diversity, yeah, anybody, does that resonate with anyone for a conversation and stuff? Okay, we're getting some head nods and stuff. Okay, good. Shaw, what are you thinking, bud?
Hey, thanks, Tom. I added something onto the topics area earlier this morning about virtual reality. I'm curious if anybody here is using VR in some way currently when working with their clients, their teams, whatnot. I have clients asking me to do trainings in VR. And so I'd be curious if anybody else is doing something or if they'd like to chat about that.
Does that resonate with anybody?
Can you
Shaw, we could
define,
have a conversation.
can you define like VR? Like, are you like a ride, or there's so many VR things. Like what VR are you talking about?
I guess I'm curious about how anybody might be using it with their clients. By clients, I'm talking about groups. Often I'm working with intact teams or cross-functional teams. And is there something that anybody's doing where everybody's in VR and participating together in something that might replicate what many of us are familiar with from our experiential activities that are often done, in physical space together, but not everybody has that opportunity to do that. And does that answer your question, Jill? Okay, and I heard somebody else say I would have a conversation, but I didn't see who that was.
That was
John.
That was me. I'm having conversations with different groups about this. As a matter of fact, I'm in a lunch group with a bunch of lawyers and bankers and things like that where it's weird. But yesterday they had a conversation about the metaverse. And I've already talked with a couple of experiential people who are like, and so I can tell you about a lot of the ideas and the barriers. I haven't done it myself. I know that there's plenty of training organizations in the corporate world that use VR, but we could have a conversation whether in a room or in the lobby sometime. So
Great. I would love that. Thank you.
Jennifer, you're up.
So, since I'm relatively new in the industry, my purpose for being here is to absorb the combined wisdom of all of you great leaders in the industry. I just want to absorb the dozens and dozens and dozens of years of experience. So I essentially will be just a fly on the wall listening to everything, because there's just so much that I realize I don't know that I'd love to know. So that's why I'm here.
I had an idea last night. I was going to call the session Pick My Brain, and basically ask, for people that, almost kind of like a panel thing where somebody could come in and just simply say, this is my question. I want to know, the mistakes you've made or the things you've learned or in this area and stuff like that. Would that?
For sure. Especially if you know the mistakes, to identify what step not to take. What's the best way to run a to facilitate a group? How do you deal with the diversity? How do you make the experience so impactful that they want to come back again? How do you start your own consulting business? How do you market it? How do you really connect with people? There's just so much. It's just like everything. Just give it to me.
You know, hey, John, that might be a kind of an addition to our to the mural would be to have a thing, you know, call it Pick My Brain, and just have people put these questions out, put their name on it, and then people could connect with them. And it's like during the you know, the after party and stuff like that, the breakout rooms, and or at the end of lunch times and stuff. So I think that's a really interesting idea. So cool. Thanks, Jennifer. Mr. Lee.
Hey everyone, Lee Strickland. Something that I need more of, that I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm very thankful for, is just the like, hey, what's up? You rock. There's a lot of folks here that I see like once a year. Unfortunately, I can't see you more. But just, yeah, getting those connections and just those little, hey, what's up? You rock moments. Because yeah, I really love seeing everybody that is here in this room right now. And I wish we could see each other more, but in the meantime, just more of the, hey, what's up, you rock check-ins, I think would be awesome.
Cool. Definitely time, you know, a pregame, the tailgate party and after workshops and stuff. The lobby, going back to the, you know, the lobby thing again, part of our thing about connectivity is go to the lobby in between sessions, go talk to people, grab a breakout room. Dave Familia and I just snuck off for a few minutes. We didn't really, you know, when we took a little time during the tailgate party to, you know, to reconnect a little bit and stuff. But that's a piece that was really missing for me in a lot of other virtual conferences. You couldn't talk to anybody. You know, the chat was turned off because they wanted you to listen to them. And it's very frustrating. So anyhow, okay, Mark.
Yes, my need is not a today need, it's a future need. So about 6 months ago, I started a podcast, and I'm always looking for like-minded folks that would like to be a podcast guest on my podcast. So if you are interested in appearing on the podcast, just reach out to me. So that's it.
I'm kind of shy, but I would do it.
Okay. All right,
No,
I'll send you some info. I'd love to have you
Okay,
on the
good.
podcast.
No, really, I am shy. Go figure. All right, Daryl.
I'm just laughing at you saying you're shy. Just gotta take that all in, right? I am a lot like what others have said. I just being around all of you just re-energizes my creative juices and makes me think of what could be. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. I guess there's one thing that I need, and I recognize that we are having to do, you know, hybrid with, you know, live people and people that, well, I guess everybody's live, but people in the room, and then people that are digital, virtual. And while it is absolutely possible, if you don't have the right setup and equipment, I found it is a royal pain in the rear. It is very difficult to keep both groups engaged. You almost need like a second facilitator to make sure you're spending the right amount of time. And I just, if anyone has, you know, some secrets or some wisdom or some experience they'd like to share with that, man, I would be drinking deeply from that well, for sure.
Well, John, you know, John and I are furiously plotting next year, and absolutely the blended. And one of the things that John said is, you know, you've got to have a second coordinator that's just, their job is the virtual, and they're engaging. So you kind of have to have a parallel program where, you know, kind of like the virtual. So let's just say that NCCPS was in person right now, and we were part of the virtual thing. We would facilitate this, and then we would go to the, you know, the larger NCCPS stuff. John can talk about it, but it's ongoing, and we would love your questions to help us plot next year.
So yeah, I've actually got a discussion thing, designing virtual and hybrid experiences, and that would be kind of, I want to find out from everybody else, and I can offer all my mistakes over the past 2 years, and like, we need to hear what you feel works and how we can make it work for everybody, regardless of where you're at with it. So to me, it's more of a discussion, because everybody's still learning and making mistakes. It's a huge, you know, further up and further in, it's a huge thing that we're just, the more I know I don't know.
Yeah.
Deb,
Yeah, hey, good morning, everybody. Just to follow up on a lot of that. My need is just to connect and reconnect and woohoo, you rock and all that and all the good stuff that I'm looking forward to listening to and being a part of. It just jogged my memory that I teach part-time at Red Rocks, and we had a high flex class that just happened not long ago, and it's actually awesome. At first I thought, how am I going to teach in person and then also online like this? And it was, I mean, I didn't do the technology. I was the person that was facilitating. It was great. People could be at home. We had some COVID outbreaks, so they were in class. They didn't miss anything. And then we had a handful of students where we could still interact and do some cool stuff. So I think that'd be great, because boy, do I miss the in-person. And, you know, I'm realizing as I'm looking at these faces and welcoming all the new people that are joining, there's just that, Tom, how we all stand on the shoulders of all of the past participants over the 30 years. And so it's just very heartwarming. And I just happy to be here. As I've said, I'm so grateful. I had an opportunity yesterday to work with recovery patients down at West Pines Training Center. And so I don't know if I have a need, because I feel like we've done a pretty dynamo job of creating some amazing, powerful experiences for these people on the recovery journey. So I'm not sure what my question is, other than I want to have it as part of the conversation, because it's such an important part of my life now to help folks on that journey. And I can't help but point out that Shaw and Mr. G, where'd you go? Put your camera back on. They're twins.
Where's my twin? Who are you talking about? I have a twin here.
Yeah, G, come on back. Anyway.
You
it's
might
good
have
to be here.
students.
Thank you. There he is. Put
Yeah,
your
sorry, I
glasses
have some
back on.
students in my office too.
When G had, there you go. Look at that. Twins.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's all.
Okay.
Gee, where'd you get all that gray hair?
I'm still searching for the wisdom in the world.
I see.
No,
Okay.
from me with Oracle trying to get on board.
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. Never a dull day at Cherry Creek High School is what I'd like to say, and I have a few of these because of that.
all right. Any other needs? Because we should probably take a look at the board and see if that we have what we need for the day. So February 25th.
Tom,
Yes.
I'm wondering, my need is related to the board. I'm wondering if the inquiry for trainer credentialing could happen earlier in the day, and if not, that is okay. But it is an ask.
I'm open for that. What if, folks can let me know, but what if we did it at 11:30? Alex, would that work for you? It's a really focused conversation with the, for the trainer, the people that are training adventure facilitators. So it's a fairly focused group.
Yeah, if we do it at the later time, I will end up in a car and I will try to have cell service, probably going over a mountain pass. So earlier, that time works for me, 11:30, but Alex, what do you think? Or anyone else?
Keeping it where it is works better for me, but yeah.
So it does work. Anyone out who would be interested in that conversation? There's no minimum. I don't. It could be just a few people. Ed, you might be interested. So we can do that. Alex, 11:30, does that work?
It wouldn't be my preference, but I can do that if we need to. Let's switch it. That's fine.
No. It's where it is. It's 1-to-1 and you are equally important. So I will just join in by phone as best I can.
Okay. Well, and it's
Leslie, I refuse. I've already moved it. Done.
okay. All right, okay. Yeah, you know, today, this first step is just visualize what the questions are in trainer credentialing. You got to start with questions, then we answer them. And then I'm gonna open this up to that larger group that we met with at ACT and other people. But I just thought, why not take a shot at it today? Because Alex gets really busy this time of year. Hard to track down. So, cool. All right. Well, 9:20. Any other requests for the day? The 3:30 p.m. time, we really haven't scheduled anything there. What we talked about is, you know, typically we'll have Scott Gerst with do his Simon Says, some music and stuff like that in that time period. Much more, you know, breakout rooms and hanging out with each other, time to connect with other people. This could be a place for Pick My Brain. Jennifer, that, you know, 3:30 today, Mountain Time, Pick My Brain activity.
Sure. Yeah.
That would be a place. And the way I envision that would be we'd have volunteer faculty. People can volunteer themselves to come to that. So we'll try to organize that a little bit more. The whole inquiry idea is kind of a work in progress that I've been kind of exploring for a couple of years, and
Nice.
it's not quite there yet. So any other sessions like so we've got 3 things at 9:30, 3 things at 11:30, and 2 things at 1:30. Are there any other sessions, any requests for a session in the 1:30 time slot? Looking at the board, who sees something that you know that resonates with them, something they feel like they're interested in, they want to go to today, and kind of park that stuff out. Again, the nice thing about virtual, if there's not something on the schedule that's resonating for you, you get that other paperwork done. Walk the dog.
I did want to give Waldo the opportunity. He had asked, without playing the telephone game, to share potential workshop yesterday that I was able to get the posted up, but I did not get a chance to share it. Brian, if you wanted to let people know about that session to see if there's some interest. And I apologize that I didn't verbally get it out yesterday.
Thanks for putting it up on the board. Ed, council is a practice for a group to just explore a question or an issue or whatever. It has been done. It's an indigenous practice. All indigenous people have done it. The Celts did it. The Shona tribe in Zimbabwe, Native Americans have done it. How many people are familiar with council? Just a couple. Okay, so it's a way for a group to address an issue, but it's not a discussion. People talk in story from their own experience, talking from the heart, listening from the heart. Everybody gets one shot, one chance to speak, but there's no dialogue. There's no back and forth of discussion. Everybody is telling a story about their experience with the question. So for example, if the question was, how do you know you're in community? Everybody would be telling a story about their experience of when they felt like they're in community. And so the object of the discussion is to address a question, not to answer it. And because everybody's telling a story about their own experience, it's by nature true. And there's no back and forth. There's no quoting other people or research or whatever. So it's an interesting way to get people to listen to each other about some topic. And if people wanted to try that, what I would do is just explain the rules, give a prompt, some question for us to sit in council about, and just conduct council just to see, just so people could see how that works. So I'm willing to do that with folks, and I could do it this morning or I could do it tomorrow morning.
Interest in that? It sounds,
I'm
it's,
interested, but I can't come this morning.
Okay.
I was hoping we could put it in that 1:30 slot. Does that not work for you, Brian?
No, I'll be on the road at 1:30.
Gotcha.
But it could happen tomorrow morning, perhaps.
okay. It resembles a sounding, but it predates it by, I'm certainly, centuries.
Mhm.
I would
So-
be very interested in that. I think that would be good for newbies like me.
Cool. All right. All right. Any last things? It's 9:25. We're headed for our first session. Oh, there's John's hand.
Just a logistical thing. If I can move everything over to the left by rooms, I realize that I mean, some of you really love the Big Dipper room and they're so unique each to itself, but just logistically, it's easier for me if I can shift them over towards the left as I open up different things. So yeah, choose your room. Preference is the ballroom, Big Dipper, that way. So that could be really helpful. Thank you.
The Big Dipper room has a really nice view.
It's right here. But Cassiopeia is closer to the bathrooms. So that's all I had.
All right, cool.
Can I
Well-
just give a quick 30-second commercial for my discussion this morning?
Mhm.
So people were interested in it. I'm willing to go any way we want. The main focus is kind of that fine line. Maybe it'll be an ethical discussion, practical discussion of just getting asked to come in to do more therapeutic type of work in schools. And especially when the program being asked is not a therapeutic program necessarily. So that's where the conversation is going to start. And I am very excited to see where it goes from there.
And let's run with this. Jill, can you recap your DEAI session?
Say that again?
Can you recap your session for everybody here?
Oh, yes, sorry. I thought you meant like put it in all caps.
Oh,
Too many good jokes this morning. So DEAI activities debrief discussion this morning, really just trying to get creative and take some of these activities that we all have been doing or prompts we have been using and giving them a spin that helps kind of open up conversation about diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion topics. I myself have found it to be, it's such a big thing. And when you're working with a team and you're trying to get them engaged, you have to start somewhere and you have to create that kind of common ground and that shared language. So looking to those activities that we all know and love and conversations about what we're all doing. So join us for a discussion. We'll be in the Big Dipper, the one with the view.
all right. Myth of the comfort zone. The premise is that people are in their comfort zone when they arrive at our programs, and I think that that's completely wrong. 11:30. How to start a podcast. Lee or Mark? 47-second elevator pitch.
Hi, everyone. Mark and I are hosting a workshop about podcasting. If you have a podcast already and are looking for ideas to grow, we can help with that. If you've never, ever had a podcast and are interested in starting one, we can help with that. We're just, I think, interested in having a conversation with some folks in that community and sharing ideas and seeing what everybody's up to.
Nice, thank you. Iggy or Dan, starting and growing a consulting business? 47
Yes.
seconds.
Dan and I are going to talk about starting and growing a business in this field.
Nice.
Entrepreneurship, how to do it, what we did, whatever, things, discussion.
Well said. Inquiry trainer credentialing. I've got a series of, today we're going to look at what are the questions, and the challenge course industry is looking at creating a credential for trainers. And we're going to start asking questions today and formulating questions that need to be answered by others. And this will be an ongoing process that will continue somewhere in the month of March. 1:30, resource sharing extravaganza, Iggy and Al, 47 seconds.
We're going to share resources. End of story. There'll be a Google Doc that'll host them all. You'll be able to get to them, bring your links and your ideas.
Cool. Also at 1:30, United Low Elements and Curriculum. It's taken me my entire career, but I think I have this figured out. I'll show you the curriculum that I teach, and I'll show you how I line it up with low activity elements. And so I don't teach elements anymore. I teach curriculum using the elements, and I think I got it. 3:30, inquiries and cohorts, a chance to, we'll all meet in the, I don't know, John, if we'll be in the probably in the ballroom or lobby, and then people go to breakout rooms, you find your cohort, pick people's brains. Also pick my brain. We're looking for volunteer faculty to show up with that. I've got to kind of flush this idea out a little bit, and a chance for people who have questions, for those of us who've made most of the mistakes, to answer. So,
Tom,
cool.
did you say flush it out or flesh it out?
Both. Yeah. My mind, it's probably flush it out.
Okay.
So good. All right, everybody. I think we're on to the next to the 9:30 session. We'll see you there.